can still.
Chicago, Chicago. It's a city that's exciting. It's a city that's inviting. It's a city for a woman just like me. There's a lake they call Lake Michigan. I think I'm really fitting in. The city is my perfect cup of tea.
I feel like Chicagoans during the summertime have such a gratitude for existing in this city during the summertime, and it's definitely because the winters here get so cold. I mean, speaking from someone who goes to school in the area, lakeshore effect is so real. But beyond that, Chicago is just engulfed in this culture of Midwest niceties that I feel like also just set the tone for how great the city is. We're in the middle of a heat wave right now, and I'm from a more southern part of the US, so I thought that like 90 degrees wouldn't be that bad, but it is genuinely so humid in Chicago. You were outside for like 2 minutes, sweat all over your body. We're going to a cafe, so we'll see how bad the walk will be. Hopefully not bad, but you never know. So we went to this cafe that opened up in Evanston called Paris Baguette, and I did not realize this was a chain, okay? So I thought that it was such a cool concept, and then I came back and my friend and roommate Camille told me that they had one in her hometown in North Carolina, and I was like, all right. Anyways, if you know me, you know I love eating good food. I love ranking restaurants on Belly, and this summer I indulged in such good food. I went to Gaijin with a friend, which is a Japanese restaurant serving okonomiyaki. Me and Juliana were just there for happy hour. Then the menu looked so good, we ended up getting a full 4-course meal. Literally to die for food. I particularly loved the twice-cooked garlic and the sesame yuzu kakigori, which was just the right amount of sweet for shaved ice. Of course, I could not talk about my food tour in Chicago this summer without mentioning Cafe Babariba. For starters, their sangria flight was $12 and actually life-changing. Probably some of the best ribs I've ever had. The chicken paella, I'm literally getting hungry just speaking about it. Another highlight was definitely when my roommates and I had a day in Chinatown. Went to Minghan Cuisine in Chinatown, and that's very special to me because that's where I celebrated my first ever Lunar New Year's, and the dim sum was just equally as delicious. We also stumbled into a festival just happening to go on in the neighborhood, and seeing so many people support Asian communities in Chinatown just made me so happy. I remember we were crossing the street and I saw this Asian elderly man singing in Mandarin, and I waved and he waved back and smiled at me, and it just made me feel so in community and seen. Another food related side quest I went on this summer was finding good matcha. I love matcha before it became a trend, might I add. These are just some of the places that I had matcha this summer, my favorites being Sawada and Espresso and Milk, and these matchas were low-key pretty expensive, I'm not gonna lie. They were like $7. I was like, this is not New York City, who are we? But it's the simple joys in life. I really enjoyed trying a bunch of matchas in the city, so it's okay. I have a very busy day at work. I'm very excited that it's busy. I feel like as an intern, sometimes, you know, you have busy days. Sometimes you have days where you're like, I got all my tasks done. What am I supposed to do? But I really think the place where I'm working at has given me loads of things to do. It makes me constantly just excited to come into the office, I guess. Corporate summer fit. I commuted from Evanston to the Loop on Tuesdays and Wednesdays when I worked in person, and then the other 3 days of the week I worked from home, which was pretty nice. But on the days that I worked in person, even though the commute was pretty long, I really enjoyed being able to zone out and see the north parts of the city. What also helped is how fulfilling my work felt. The MacArthur Foundation is truly so incredible, and they treated the interns to a beautiful summer of professional development, obviously, but also just appreciation for Chicago. They took us on an architectural boat tour, and even though it was my second time going, I learned so many new things. Beyond my 9 to 5, my 5 to 9 and weekends were spent hanging out with friends and exploring the city. I have such a vivid memory of relaxing at the beach on the 4th of July, looking at the waves and thinking, this is what summer is made for. This is why people stick out these cold and horrendous winters. I also went to so many festivals. I went to Taste of Randolph. I went to 2 vintage festivals, the first right outside of Wrigley Field. The second was outside of Fulton Market. It was actually pouring rain for the first hour, but so many people were there, rain or shine. Even if some of the vendors charged a ridiculous amount for a graphic tee, it was my actual dream to look through all of these curated pieces. Just so cool to see an entire street blocked off, hundreds of people shopping for pieces that they love, pieces that they could feel good in. Towards the end of the summer, I also attended Lollapalooza on Saturday and Sunday, and this was my first music festival. 2 of my hometown friends came to visit and go with me, and it was just so cool. Almost every artist I saw had a little little interlude where they raved about how beautiful their view was, how thankful they were, and each time I would look behind me and see the Chicago skyline and feel so appreciative to just exist in this city. Also, the artists, Rufus DeSoul, Clairo, Phineas, Sabrina Carpenter, but more specifically when she brought out Earth, Wind, and Fire, my dream date, and he knew that. Sorry, just absolute cinema, a weekend I will never forget. I'm just gonna leave this video clip here. This summer, these 12 weeks, honestly flew by. It was packed, like quite literally packed, with good food, spots, work that actually felt so meaningful. There were so many moments that made this summer one of the best summers I've ever experienced. Sitting on a sailboat and watching the lake shimmer with the Chicago skyline, or a night listening to live jazz with friends while the L train rolled by and the sunset in the background. Just such vivid, vibrant moments that made me stop and think, how lucky am I to live this life? What united every single moment, though, were the people I shared it with. Like the people who lined the streets of Boys Town for miles to celebrate Pride. Like the random hundreds of people who sat with me to watch an adult spelling bee or performative male contest in Wicker Park. People who all decided in that moment to not take life that seriously and laugh and, in a weird way, be in community with each other. It sounds so stupid, these events were so stupid, but it really just made Chicago feel so alive and fun. And of course, I can't forget my friends, my roommates, who I figured out life with for the first time and who wandered through neighborhoods of the city with me every single weekend and night. Even in the more monotonous things like our long commutes on the L to the city, or in our home where we cooked dinner together or rage watched The Summer I Turned Pretty with every Wednesday night. It sounds so cringy, but the people really do make the place. And this place, Chicago, is just so magical. Hey, I am in the process of driving home right now. I just listened to End of Beginning. I'm passing the Shed Aquarium. May have shed a tear. Chicago is so beautiful. Especially in the summertime, things just become so much more alive and magical. And everyone here just appreciates life and the slowness, but the fast paced. And I'm just in love with this city. Yeah, I just think reflecting on this summer, I truly just love Chicago.